Okay, a lot of people may not realize this, but the first commodity ever sold on Wall Street were slaves. And this is a part of history that is very well hidden. And many of your Caucasoid counterparts will not tell you this. Slavery in America was far worse than anything they ever told you in school. What they do in school is give you the watered down version. But when you take it upon yourself to learn the actual history, it is so horrific and disgusting and most despicable thing you'll ever see. This is why it's debatable that these Caucasoids are even human. And this is why I have a total disconnect from them. I had Caucasoid friends up until around 2007. And then I just let them all go. I got tired of the disagreements. I got tired of them taking on a position that only they should be able to speak freely. But if you speak freely, there's some issue with it. Nah, I'm sorry, but you won't treat me like that. That's unacceptable to me. Out of everything that we've been through in this whole country, and you think I should be suppressed in my speech? Yeah, right. It's not going to happen. This is why Caucasoids cannot shake their ugly stain, and that's slavery. They can't shake it. That's a stain on them permanently and on their offspring permanently. It ain't going away. All right, so now we know the first commodity ever sold on Wall Street were Black and Native slaves. Black and Native slaves. So it's really important to know that, because the natives that you're looking at today were not the natives sold on Wall Street. The natives were described as copper skin with wool hair. Those were the slaves and natives sold on Wall Street. It's not these mulatto looking Indians that you're looking at today. They didn't even exist back then. All right, so let's just take a look at slavery in New York. Now, down there on Wall Street, it was a huge market. In fact, it was like one of the biggest hot spots back then. And it began in 1711. And it was a place to buy, sell, and rent a slave. The North had a lot of slaves. Now, the Caucasoids, they want you to believe that slavery only took place in the South. And most of these slaves were on plantations. Completely false. Slavery took place in most of this country. There were corporations like Del Monte that had slaves. There were hospitals that had slaves. There were universities that had slaves. Okay? Slavery existed not just from Southerners with plantations. That is completely false. And what you may also not know, if it wasn't for Black females, gynecology that you're looking at today wouldn't be as advanced as it is. They experimented on the womb of Black females without anesthesia. They did this. And that's the only reason why you see the advances that you see in gynecology. So really, Black women are the biggest contributor to gynecology in America. You know, it makes me laugh. Caucasoids walk around with their chest out, call themselves patriots, but no one built up this country. No Hispanics, Mexicans, Asians, Caucasoids. No one built this place up like Black people did. They can all walk around and claim to be better than us all they want. But one thing they can never ever do is claim they built America. Black people built this bitch. And we're the only one that can say we built this bitch. If it wasn't for us, America would be a third world nation. And that's the damn truth. You know, but all of them are benefiting big time. But we were the real builders and creators of this nation. Every single president that started America had a Moor as their teacher. They had no clue on how to run a country. And the Moors had ran Europe for 1,300 years. So when they all came over here, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, all of the beginning forefathers, not my forefathers, I don't call, they're not mine, the Caucasoids' forefathers, had a Moor as their teacher. So they didn't come over here from scratch and ran this country. Black people had a hand in this country from its inception. There's just more history they will never teach you. They want you to falsely believe they did everything. Just like I'm going to also do a video in the future about inventions that Black people actually created during slavery. But because they were slaves, their slave owners got all the credit for the invention, although they didn't do shit. Okay, so we'll get into that another time. But you can see this ledger on the screen, and it shows exactly, you know, the merchants and the slave that was traded. You can see right here, this was a Black man. And over here, this was a female woman slave. And you can go down the list and you can see names and things on this ledger. Our people have been through so much in this country. It is sickening how they treated us. It is absolutely sick. But anyway, nevertheless, so let's just get a little bit into this. The slaves that were sold in New York um, took place between 1711 and 1762. Slavery was legal in New York all the way up until 1841. The slaves that were in New York also existed in 40% of the homes up in New York. But these caucasoids like to get in everybody, a black person's face and say their family had nothing to do with slavery. If you listen to all of these caucasoids, you would think no one had a slave in America. Okay, no, you know why they tell you that? Because their asses are wicked as hell. Only a wicked fool would believe they can come in your face and tell you their family didn't have slaves, but slavery went on for hundreds of years. Okay, don't even sweat that kind of stuff. It's awfully funny how sometimes the topic of slavery don't even come up, and you notice how they'll bring it up and make sure they get that in to tell you. It's ridiculous. Well, anyway, a lot of the slaves in the North were highly skilled. A lot of the buildings that you see throughout New York were built by the slaves. Homes, buildings, highways, railways, cotton. There were farms up in the North that slaves worked on. The slaves were carpenters, housekeepers, of course, nannies, because these pathetic Caucasoid females didn't even want to breastfeed their own kids. The black women did that. And we literally built even a lot of the North, not just the South, but a lot of the North was built by the slaves. And many of you, some may know, there's a African burial memorial down there in Lower Manhattan where the slaves used to be, used to reside around that area. And also Central Park. That was where there was a black community. They're right there in Central Park. And, since then, the homes have been leveled and now it's all a park. But, that is the one thing they've done all over America where we had black towns. They all got leveled, and highways or parks and things of that nature have been put in their place because they don't want any of our ancestors' presence to be seen in America. You may hide things, but it certainly doesn't mean the history is still not out here for us, for black people to see. And 91% of America's wealth came from the cotton industry. Cotton was traded all over the globe, and this is how America got its biggest wealth. Who picked that cotton? Slaves. Slaves. There was no machinery that could pick cotton. No, the cotton had to be picked by hand. And it was slaves that did it. So there's no way these caucasoids can try to mask and disguise the fact that we did the bulk of the work. Now, you can talk about supervising. Supervising is absolutely nothing. Okay, take the workers away and just put the supervisor out there to do all the work then, since a supervisor is some big fucking deal. That's nothing. Running off at the mouth at a group of people, that's nothing. And those times are about to conclude on you caucasoids anyway. Most of the black people that are wide awake, they ain't listening to your asses anymore anyway. So your days are numbered on your supervising. You better enjoy it while you can. So now you know what took place on Wall Street and the big slave market that took place on there. And I will leave the articles in the description box for you to see. And you can tell me what you think in the comment section of this video. But this is our history. This is ours. And no, we were no lazy slaves, just like we're not lazy people now. You know, they have to keep trying to degrade you in order to make themselves feel good. You got to understand everything about cockazoids is all about psychology. All right? You can get out of mental slavery if you would just not let them have a voice when they come around you. See, they're so used to imposing their will on us. But me, I've gotten to the point in my life where I don't even take them seriously anymore. When they open their mouth to me, it's almost like a clown standing there talking to me. I don't take them seriously. I can't. I can't. The thing is, if I take them seriously, then that puts me back into mental slavery. And I'm not going backwards, y'all. I'm not going backwards. And I don't want any of you to go backwards. We've come too far and gained so much knowledge to go backwards. And don't let them run their head games on you. Don't let them run their scam on you. They've been scamming us for centuries now. It's time to get out of all of this foolishness and start using our brains. Let our brains work for us. Let it benefit us, not them. Don't let them benefit off of your ideas anymore, or benefit off of your hard work. It's up to us to shut that down, and we can. Please leave your comments and subscribe. And if you can, please donate to this channel. Peace, family.